It has been months since Peaky Blinders' main character Thomas Shelby lit a cigarette, aimed a revolver, or spoke in his Brummie accent.
Oh, but I am back. Back from under the ground.
After nearly a decade, the period crime drama that has won the hearts of countless fans around the world finally aired its last season. Peaky Blinders was an international sleeper hit series, and its leading character was one of the best reasons behind it. You would think that since that time, Cillian Murphy, the man behind the man, would have gotten rave reviews and stirred up a media frenzy for what is unquestionably the most formidable portrayal by a leading actor in streaming or TV history. But in stark contrast to the show's phenomenal final season, the attention it garnered in the media was barely a whimper. It was as though the end of the show had ended any chance of well-deserved accolades along with it. Although this will not be the last we see of the Shelbys, the saga will conclude in a feature-length film that begins production in 2023, Peaky Blinders. The show fans elevated to cult status has come to an end, and together with our last glimpse of the beloved show, was the last of what was TV's most underappreciated male lead in a crime drama series, the legendary Thomas Shelby. Peaky Blinders frequently played with an ensemble cast, and the show itself was often on the verge of being such. But I think it's time to give Cillian Murphy credit for his masterful performance as Tommy, the man at the core of Peaky Blinders to which everything else was anchored. No significant narrative development occurred without his hand dipped in the proverbial cookie jar. Yet after 6 spellbinding seasons, I think we have epically failed to appreciate the depth of performance given by Murphy. How Murphy's portrayal of Tommy never garnered him any significant nominations, let alone awards, is beyond me. I'm literally so stunned by it that I can barely continue. The final season soundtrack alone was unlike that of any other crime drama. We, the viewers, the loyal fans, were enveloped in an inescapable darkness of gothic rock, brooding, melancholic, and very, very dark. Peaky Blinders was simply spellbinding. Netflix and the BBC sure can pick a winner, and although the show imprinted upon us a captivating post-World War I aesthetic, the cast's performance leaves us completely absorbed, with Murphy as the driving force behind it all. Over the course of 6 seasons, Murphy's portrayal was one he had refined to perfection, and it is high time he gets due recognition. The character such as that of Shelby is something of a dream role, one which any serious actor hopes to land. In it was a role that provided Murphy with material ripe for dramatic expression, from outbursts of wrath and grief that would wrench even the coldest of hearts, to drawn-out moments of dark introspection and quiet aplomb that gave the sense of something hidden just beneath the surface, something Murphy hinted at with expert subtlety, sometimes captured at half speed, emphasizing just how insanely cool Shelby really was. Thomas Shelby, not to mention the show itself, came across as so staggeringly elegant that whatever life Murphy had infused into Tommy since he landed the part in 2013 has practically been discounted or perhaps even obscured. And who can blame us? Shelby exuded seductive sophistication with a cigarette resting on his lip or a glass of Irish whiskey in his hand. And boy, can the man rock a haircut. He was so easy on the eyes, so distractingly self-controlled, that we forget the depth of character upon which Murphy had built that image, the notorious figure of which we now know as Tommy today. With much of the cast gone by the time season 6 came around, the show was able to focus most of its attention on Tommy. And with that attention came Murphy's chance to shine. Murphy's portrayal of a stoic Shelby was made all the more memorable with long, well-paced dialogue scenes making the most of the silence, the white space that accentuated the stark reality of post-war England. Tommy came across as someone who felt the end was close at hand, yet was never made to quicken his pace. Murphy milked every second Tommy was afforded, and brought into full view an intuitive connection between them, one that was born from years of being the man behind the gangster. Season 6 reveals the culmination of years of hard work is about to come crashing down for Thomas. With the constant threat of political upheaval, his life of crime, sex, and money are about to come to a grinding halt. Shelby has fought hard to earn the seat at the table, where men plan the future of the world, but in the end, his presence barely makes even a dent. There have undoubtedly been other streaming or TV series that involve gangsters or violent crime, or exude a dismal atmosphere, and that take place in or around the same time period, such as Boardwalk Empire, Taboo, or perhaps even The Alienist. But Peaky Blinders is uniquely set apart from these other crime sagas by being the only one modeled after the most masterful plots a TV drama can have: the portrayal of the interwar era through a singular character. The story drops us in the middle of 1920s industrial Birmingham, right after the First World War, where for Thomas Shelby, despite being Romani and dirt poor, the world was for the taking by the forceful and sharp-witted. There was something about him that made us sit and watch from day one. 6 blood-soaked seasons and 9 years later, we are not the least bit surprised that we have stayed for the ride, delightfully addicted to the very end. We watch as Tommy makes his way through life in England in the period between the wars. We are transported to America, to the dazzling roaring 20s, to the years leading up to the stock market crash and the Prohibition era. We see the end of the Irish War of Independence, the escape of Russian aristocracy from communist threat, the dangers posed by the American mob, and finally the oppressive rise of ultra-conservative powers in Europe. We witness the struggles during the trying times before the Second World War. Tommy navigates through these complexities of life, all the while both burdened by the trauma of war and blessed with the fierce sense of survival because of it. Tommy showed us what life was like during a period that is rarely ever shown on TV. He showed us that in spite of it all, the cunning prophet from turmoil. Looking past his deliberate composure and past the daily chaos, it is apparent that all there ever existed was a man who endured the wounds of war and yearned for power. Murphy's phenomenal portrayal of Tommy left us wanting more. It was fascinating to watch him develop Tommy through the years, while staying faithful to his essence. We saw Tommy's sense of humor eventually wane, and in waves that felt horribly human, saw him suffer with love and PTSD, breaking our hearts in the process. Most of all, Tommy left us mesmerized by his calculated coolness and penetrating gaze. Through it all, Murphy held true to the Thomas Shelby we grew to love and hate and love again, from day one. Cillian Murphy is an actor's actor. He consistently performs with marked excellence and has thrived in his career despite the lack of Hollywood attention or the desire for it. Thomas Shelby may have very well been less than formidable or desirable had he been played by a lesser actor. Hollywood and the press be damned, but a performance of this caliber merits nothing but praise. If you liked our video, you can find more on our playlist. Till next time.